Good afternoon. This video is going to be talking about what is in the news right now. If you haven't heard of Pizzagate, then you need to start doing more real news searching. And the New York Times is saying that Pizzagate is a conspiracy or it's false. And so what they're trying to do is get people to look crazy, but in actuality it is something that the Bible talks about. And if you don't know about it, I would encourage you to watch at least 3 different videos. Go to YouTube and watch Pizzagate. It came about because of the emails that were leaked from Hillary Clinton's campaign. And people started looking into it, and they saw that it had code words. And code words are very important in the dark world. So they had code words for child abuse and pedophilia. So if you want to look into all that, I would say to look that up. Look up Podesta, look up Annihilates, etc. What I want to do is look at it from a biblical perspective, because I watched a video of a person who puts up issues that we're dealing with here in the United States and all over the world. And her last video that I watched, she was saying, "Is there hope?" And she was depressed. And she's every time she gets on a video, she's when she speaks for herself, she's usually I would say like distraught or disheartened. And so this is kind of for those of you who are in the real world of truth. For many people are asleep, including the group of people called the Seventh-day Adventists, who used to be very much awake and people of the Bible, but they've fallen asleep and they don't care. And they've started eating and drinking with the drunken. And basically, the Bible talks about that. The reason why they're eating with the drunken is because they've now decided not to take care of their bodies, that they just eat whatever, do whatever. They don't realize what they're doing, but they've given up. And so I want to say that this is about the darkness that's out there. And the first verse I want to take you to is Ephesians 6:12. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So there's spiritual wickedness in high places, and people are just starting to see it. Even though there's been satanic ritual abuse of children, even in the 80s, there was a big story about it. But it's coming out again now. Why? Why is this? Let's go to Matthew 10:26. The reason why we're seeing it is because this is what the scriptures say. It says, nothing covered. It says, "Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed." So what they were doing in darkness and wanting to keep out of the mainstream and covering up, it's being revealed. And these people in high places are the Clintons, the Bushes, people in the very places which you think are to take care of us. And the CIA, the FBI, all these agencies are really headed by Jesuits, which Jesuits are an arm of the Catholic Church. And I'm not here to offend Catholics, because many Catholics don't understand that the Roman Catholic Church, hear that word, Roman, only came into existence to usurp the real apostle Christian church, what people call Christian, but it was really the apostolic church. The apostles of Yasha went out and they had a huge movement after his death, and they were revealing truth to the people. So they were revealing how to be saved. What was it that we had to do? What was the true religion? Why did Yasha die on the cross? And then what is he doing now in the sanctuary above? So they did that, and many people were following them. Thousands of people in one day would turn their lives over to this real system of worship. So the Catholic, well, let's say the Romans didn't like that. So they wanted their power back. So they decided they would infiltrate the apostolic movement and say that they started it and that Peter was their pope. That's where it all started. So the Romans decided to say they had religion and start a religion, but they were not religious in the way that you think. They had customs and beliefs, perverted ideas, and they had Roman baths and sexuality, and they perverted their bodies. And the main thing that you can pull from this that comes to today is that pedophilia was rampant in Roman society. They believed that it was okay for older men to have a young boy as their, sexual partner. These are hard things for me to say in the correct way, but they believed that that was totally okay. They had Roman orgies, they were gluttonous, look up all the ways that Roman society was. Now they're the ones who invented the Catholic Church. They said, let's put the two together. So Constantine in 325, he so-called became a Christian, and after that, the Roman Catholic Church took over the world. The word Catholic means universal, so they went through the whole world, and they've been controlling it ever since. So they never were pure, where people think, oh, this recently has infiltrated the Catholic Church, where there's pedophilia and priests who are having sex with young boys or abusing children. Well, it's not an infiltration. It's their belief. They don't see anything wrong with it. But to take over the world, they have been putting themselves forward as your fellow man who cares in God and Jesus. And so they are ravenous wolves who are taking over the world, and they've basically taken over. And so now it's coming to light, all this evil. There's been, $400 million used by the Catholic Church to protect themselves or to pay to victims for abuse, but they keep it hush-hush. Now, how does this happen where things are hush-hush? Why is it that your local television station or your big television stations like ABC, CBS, Fox News barely even reports on anything like this? So that makes you forget about the evil that is in the world, because this is what the Bible says, that there's these powers, these principalities. When we talk about principalities, those are governments. Principalities, powers, rulers of darkness of this world. So this is where you know it's true. There's evil people. They're taking these children, and what's coming out in this Pizzagate is the evidence from one place to the other, where they bring in children for depraved people's delights, including Hillary Clinton, Abedin, Weiner, Podesta. All these are the allegations that are coming up. And the New York Times is saying that this is fake conspiracy news. Okay? They're saying that there's an onslaught of fake news and they're targeting this one place, which yesterday there was a false flag hoax saying that a guy went in there with a shotgun trying to shoot people because he's one of these people who believes in a conspiracy. And so now the news is using this false flag. They sent some probably CIA patsy in there to act crazy. So that now they can be like, oh, poor people at this pizza place, they're being targeted, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just another way for them to lie and cover up their evil deeds. And people are going to have to start hating it like they did back in the day. There's a book that I read, and I can't think of the title right now, but it was written by a Roman Catholic priest. And he talks about that they would come into the villages, into the Catholic churches, and they would abuse the daughters. And then the people got so tired of it, they actually took their Catholic priest out and beat him up and the living daylights out of him, because he was going to house to house to house, speaking to the wives and speaking to the children and enticing them and then forcing them, and evil things were happening. So the people took it into their own hands. One of the other things that goes along with this pedophilia is what they do. They sacrifice children, and there's eating of children. And we know that Pepsi and Coca-Cola put an ingredient in their sodas that are flavor enhancers. And if you need that link, just write me below and I'd be glad to give you the link, where they're putting in fetuses to enhance your taste buds when you drink their products. It's also in Kraft, so if you eat macaroni and cheese, if you eat Campbell's soup, the ingredient is in those too. So I'll give you the link if you want to know more about that. So if you consider yourself to be in the health message and all you're talking about is not eating meat, you better look at what's in the ingredients of your processed foods. And these big companies that are in cahoots with the government, they make money off of you and they laugh at you because they say, well, you think you're all that, but you're drinking children when you drink these drinks, because you're addicted to very deadly, very evil things, and you don't know what's in them. So it's basically them putting these things in your drinks and them doing these, they're doing satanic rituals in places, and we know that there's witnesses that say that even the Pope was doing these things. These women came forward and talked about it. So this is what the Roman Church does. They're not a Christian church. They put the front that they are, but they're not. And then any church that is associated with them or starts going to meet with them with these ecumenical movements, or, you know, even if a church has a tie to the UN, which we know the Seventh-day Adventists, in 2015, April the 6th, they made a compact or a pact with the United Nations. So that shows you right there. And since I would say the 1950s, they've been with the Catholic Church. So they teach their dogma, but they don't put it right. You know, they don't tell you, hey, this is Catholic dogma. They just start teaching it to you, spiritual formation, etc. But what I want to read to you is the stuff that's going on under these, in the so-called guise of having people come over for pizza and spirit cooking and all these things. Look them up. It's all witchcraft. So let's read 2nd Chronicles. You know what? I don't have the actual number, but it's in 2nd Chronicles. Just Google some of these keywords. It says, "And he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also he observed times and used enchantments and used witchcraft and dealt with the familiar spirit, and with wizards he wrought much evil in the sight of the Yah to provoke him to anger." So I want to look at these key words. They observe times. The Catholic Church has said in their writings that they're the ones who changed times and laws, and that we're supposed to keep their feasts and not the feasts that are in the Mosaic Law. So they observe different times. And when you keep Christmas, Easter, Halloween, any times that the Catholic Church is a part of, or the government is a part of, you're observing their times. The only times to be observed are those that are written in the Law of Moses. Those are true holidays. Those are true days to observe worship. Those are the days that your high priest Yasha is in the sanctuary interceding for you. So you need to read the Law of Moses. And the Catholic Church is the one who sought to change the times and the laws. They sought to change the Law of Moses and say that it's not valid. They sought to change the times to meet, which include feast days, not just the 7th-day Sabbath. And the Jesuits infiltrated the Seventh-day Adventist Church to teach against the feast days. And there's many people who are teaching against the feast days, and they don't understand that these times to meet with the Father and the Son are true worship times when the sanctuary in heaven is open. So when you observe times and you don't observe all of Yah's times, and you use enchantments, that word enchantments, if you look it up, look up the word enchantment in a etymological dictionary that tells you where words come from. It's connected to the word magic. Look up the word magic, and it talks about casting a spell. And enchantment, that word, if you know even a little bit about the English language, enchantment comes from song, chant. And in French, we know enchanté, or in Spanish, canto. So this word, enchantment, is the act of magic or magic power or magical spell or a magical song. So we see here that they had enchantments. They have words that they say. Well, how do these words come up in our day today? If you go to their the newscast, they are giving you their enchantments. So you watch the news, these people that are connected very high up in government and in governments and with the elites, like Rupert Murdoch owns a lot of the enchantment channels, or the programming. If you watch TV, you can look in your readers, your TV guide, and it says programming. So you're being programmed. You're hearing enchantments. You're getting witchcraft. They're casting spells on you to where you don't know what truth is anymore. And their newscasts are a way of magic. They use words that you don't know the original meaning for, or they're technical legal jargon, but they are not what you think they mean. So I was just looking at this article on the New York Times, November 21, and it says fake news onslaught targets pizzeria as nest of child trafficking. So this is a New York Times trying to protect this Comet Ping Pong restaurant. And what was interesting to me was how they use words. So they say things like that there's fake news out there, and that there's these conspiracies, and they use that word conspiracy wrong, because a conspiracy is a conspiracy theorist is saying there's a conspiracy to do evil, but they're using they're calling a conspiracy theorist evil, so they use it against them. But there was also an article that came out because yesterday's shooting at the pizzeria, they're saying that, let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, that it was, man was motivated by Pizzagate conspiracy theory, arrested in Washington gunfire. So what they do is they get some cuckoo crazy or somebody who wants some extra money, crisis actor, to come in and pretend they're this guy who's a patriot and against the pizza place, so that, because in the end of the article it says, something like, oh, the poor pizza people are being targeted just because of this false story. But really, you got to read the article, because it's a bunch of lies, and they use certain words to get you to believe their lies. And then they'll put in their stuff like what is being called Pizzagate, an online conspiracy theory with no evidence that the restaurant is somehow tied to a child abuse ring. Well, no, the actual investigation from the people, since the FBI, CIA, and local police no longer investigate crime, they looked into it and didn't just find child abuse, they found pedophilia and satanic connections. So they don't put that here because they don't want to get you going, because if they put it in their article, you might go look it up. But they're like, don't worry, there's nothing going on. This is a crazy guy who comes in. So this is what they do. They use their witchcraft against you. So, and he causes children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. We're also talking about Moloch, the ancient belief of sacrificing children. This is what they're doing, but in a modern way, so that you will not think it's just as crazy as what was in the Bible. Oh, those things happened way back then. They don't happen today. But let me ask you a question. Why are there so many bones in all of these Catholic churches underground in the Vatican? Why are there so many dead bones everywhere? Why do they make art out of dead bones underneath the Catholic churches? Who are those dead bodies? Do they have no care for the dead? Aren't they supposed to be buried? Well, let me ask you another question. Why does the Pope have so-called masses or massacres to make a previous Pope or previous nun a saint by using a piece of their hair or a piece of their skin? Go look up when they made Pope John, whatever, a saint, and see what they did. Either they got a piece of his skin, they brought his dead body back out. Look at my previous video on necromancy. See what they do. This is witchcraft done by the Catholic Church. If you're Catholic, look at it, open your eyes and see that there's witchcraft. This is what the Bible's speaking against. He's talking about people with familiar spirits. And then they have this, what's called Christ. They say Mary Christ Massacre. They have masses, and they have the Spirit of Christ Mass. Well, I think that's one of these evil spirits that it's talking about here in 2 Chronicles, and I really need to get that that for you. But I'll put it below in the extra notes. So I just wanted you to say that I wanted to bring up, put all the dots together. Witchcraft, child abuse, satanic worship, and magic, and casting spells on you. This is all old-fashioned words, but in modern times, they're not saying that. They're just having these new, the FBI has a whole code thing for it, for pizza, for ping pong. All these have code words in sexual trafficking of children. And people have been dying because they've been investigating it. There's a lady named Monica Peterson who died just recently because she was investigating child trafficking by Hillary Clinton in Haiti. So why is nobody telling you about it? Why is it a secret? Well, let's look at what has happened in 2012. The United States bans the end on domestic propaganda. You can Google that, or Ixquick, or however way you do your research. Look up the U.S. banning domestic propaganda, the end on domestic propaganda, because they used to have a law called the Smith-Munst Act, and it prohibited the federal government to use propaganda. See, this is the thing. They already have propaganda. They used to give it to the other countries, and it was legal to do that. So if they want to put propaganda in Russia so that Russia doesn't come and invade us, they could use that. But in 2012, they removed its prohibition where it used to say that they couldn't do it on the United States citizens. They removed that. So now they can legally give you lies, enchantments, and propaganda. Before this is 2012. Before this, they had Project Mockingbird. Look that up. And there's even a video of the actual congressional hearing where it's being admitted. So look up Project Mockingbird. So these people put their enchantments on you. Now, I want you to see the dots, though, because you may say, okay, this is in the government. What does that have to do with me? Well, your church is controlled by the government if they have made a confederation, which is a church and state, confederation. Everybody's looking for, one day our churches are going to be run by the state, or there's going to be a church and state confederation in the last days. We're living in the last days. The confederation already happened. And how was that so? It was when the churches became a 501c3 organization. Now the government can tell you how to run your organization. And you have guidelines, and they can come in and tell you what to say, what you can't say now that you're a corporation. So the Seventh-day Adventist Church, of course, became a corporation, and that's why they never speak against any evil. They just bring it on in, because they made a confederation through the government, and they made a confederation with the churches. They've been going to the ecumenical meetings since, I don't know when, 1950s. I'd have to look that up. Don't have that one for you. Maybe you can do the research. Find out when the Seventh-day Adventist Church became part of the Catholic Church. And some of the clues where you know that they're part of this evil system is to go watch a tour on, they're probably going to take it down soon, but go watch the tour given for the conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There's an online tour for the conference building, and you can see on one of the glasses behind, when the camera's just taking a wide look, there's the Eye of Moloch symbol. It's an etching. It's not going to say, this is the Eye of Moloch, we now worship him. But they have the symbol, and it almost looks like they're trying to give you a false idea that it means the earth spinning and the thing is their, you know, the movement of the earth. But it's only on one side. It looks exactly like the Eye of Moloch. So Seventh-day Adventists connected. But I want to say all Protestant churches who are 501c3, they're all connected to the government. They're all run by the church and state. They all have to go by these things. They have to hire equally, and don't discriminate against people who are homosexuals. And those homosexuals can teach your children, and then they can have pornography in the schools, and then they can do these things to your kids while your kids are in school. So that's where we're at, folks. We're living in the last days. They're casting spell on you with their newscast and their propaganda machines, and it's legal. You can't sue them for lying to you. So this is what my point was going to be, though. What happens now? There's people online who say they don't have any hope. But if you don't know what your end is written in here, there's two sides. There's the side of Moloch and Satan and the government and the Catholic Church and all the churches that have confederated with them. What does the Bible say? It says, come out of her, my people. So he has people in all these churches. The Seventh-day Adventists think that everybody's going to come into the Seventh-day Adventist Church and come out of the Catholic Church. But no, there's people in every religion that's been taken over by the Jesuits' infiltration, and also by the government. And some of the highest people in government went to Catholic colleges. The very main one is Georgetown University. So they got their indoctrination from all these places, and now they're in high places of government. And I want you to know that there's a solution. There's a solution to this, and it's written in the scriptures. There's some scriptures that's going to give you hope. So let's go to Revelation 17:16. And these are going to tell you about the evil people's end. And it's about to come. And how do we know this? How do we know it's not 200 years from now? It's going to be in my lifetime, and it's going to be soon. Because we have the prophecy that pulls us up to 1844. And then the 4 last watches before the Messiah comes. And we're in the 4th watch. So because of prophecy, and because he reveals his secrets to his servants, the prophets, Amos 3:7 or 3:9, we know these things. We know we're living in that last 4th watch, and good things are about to happen. This world is about to be turned upside down, inside out, as is talked about in Isaiah, because y'all's not going to let this keep going. So there's hope. There's excitement. There's a good end to everything. This created world was created by the Father, Yah. He's coming to redeem his earth. And so in Revelation 17:16, let's read what happens to the Catholic Church. because this is what this is talking about before this verse. And it's bringing us to a time of 10 horns in prophecy, and 10 horns is 10 powers, which are 10 kings. So there's 10 means universal. So this is talking about the whole earth has these kings running it, right? And that's what we have, this new world order that people think it's in the future, but it's already in place. So it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So right now, these kings of the world are riding high with the beast, which the beast is the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is what's giving them all their power behind the scenes. When the Jesuits are everywhere and they're just giving these people power. Joe Biden went to Georgetown University, and I mean, we could go down the list of all the politicians who went to Catholic schools. So now, not all Catholics believe this way. They're going to be one of the people that comes out. It's going to be come out for my people. They are also going to come out. People of the Catholic Church, people of all the churches are going to come to where Yah has explained his true worship. And his true worship, the people that keep true worship know the times that the tabernacle in heaven is open, and that's when they meet. And if you want to know more about the times, go to our website, Times and Laws. We have the true times when the heavenly courts are open for forgiveness. So this is part of the plan. This is part of the redemption plan that you don't know about, because the Catholic Church walks around with Jesus on the cross and they say he's dead. N-I-N-R-I. They're basically saying that they kill heretical kings in Latin. I-N-R-I. So anyway, go here and it says, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, one world order, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. They're right now just all under this UN Catholic organization. The UN is a Luciferian Catholic organization run by Jesuits. If you go to the Jesuits.org and you go to the UN, they have links towards each other, so you know that they're hooked up. So is Georgetown University. So if you want to look at the links when people's organizations are giving direct confederation with each other, you know they're all in it together. So the UN, the Jesuits, Georgetown University, you can see, go to Georgetown University and you go to Jesuit.org. Go to Jesuit.org and you'll go to the United Nations. So this just shows you this is all roads do lead to Rome, because the UN in a circle with the Jesuits, it's all, you know, all intertwined. And so it says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. We know that Yasha, which a lot of people call Jesus, but his true name's Yasha, he comes and he's the Lamb, and they try to make war with him. Okay? And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest. Well, it goes on and on. But what I want to tell you is that's your clue right there. The Lamb beats them in a war. So you don't want to be on their side. You don't want to be part of them and any one of their ecumenical churches, any one of their agencies in the government. You know, if you work for the government, you need to get out of it. They've been overtaken by the most evil people on this planet. Local governments, you probably don't have the awareness of the evil, but they're controlled by these big principalities, these powers. Okay, so we just saw that the Lamb makes war with the kings. Let's look at Revelation 17:16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest, the ones we were just talking about, upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. All of a sudden, these kings that were with that beast system, they hate her. And they say, we hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. They make her desolate. She has no power. She's naked. Everybody can see that she's been her nakedness is shown. Oh my goodness. She's been behind all the evil all this time. She's She's being shown. You don't want to be naked in front of the whole world, but this is what's going to happen to the Roman Catholic Church, and what it's already happening, because people are starting to make the connection that it goes all the way back to Rome. This Pizzagate pedophilia goes to Rome. It goes to the Catholic Church. It goes to the Vatican. It goes to Moloch, all the way back to Moloch. And they still have Bohemian Grove here in California. So it's all connected. Connect the dots. The 10 kings, all the powers together are doing this evil. But it just shows you that they become desolate and naked. And these kings eat the flesh and burn her with fire. She has an end. This is your hope. Let's also go to Revelation 19, 16 through 19. It says, this is talking about the Lamb that we just talked about. So this is giving you more information. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Yah. So this is the marriage supper that people think it's going to be a beautiful thing, but I want you to read this. The marriage supper is the eating of these powers. So that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, because horses represent power, and of them that sit on them, the people that have the power, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So you see here, they lose their power. The fowls of the air, which we know those are the 144,000, come, and they're with the Lamb, and the Lamb makes war against them, and they're consumed till the end. This is what is about to happen on this earth. We're in the fourth watch. For more information on that, go to timesandlaws.com, and I want to show you another proof in Daniel, because Daniel and the Revelation go together. So does Zechariah. There's more in Zechariah that talks about this time in the end and what happens. And people will have to come and worship true worship, not have any part of that Catholic worship, which includes Christmas, or which includes Sunday, or which includes enchantments or lies. None of that can be a part of true worship. And so there's going to be a place where everybody comes and they get the understanding and truth about how to get overcome sin. So in Daniel 2:44 it says that there's a kingdom that's set up. So right now I'm telling you there's hope. There's about to be an overturning of all the stuff that you see, that you feel hopeless about. It says, and in the days of these kings, so it's giving you a specific time. In the days of these kings, so this is Daniel talking about the same time, shall Yah of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and a kingdom shall not be left to other people. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So here we're talking about the same thing. This kingdom is set up on this earth, not in heaven. It's set up here. It's going to consume and break all these kingdoms. I want you to realize also, which I forgot to tell you, is in Micah 5, it's talking about the same thing. So let's go to Micah. Let's see if I can find it while I'm on camera. Oh, you know what? I think I have it on my computer ready to go. Okay, so Micah. This Micah chapter 5 is a prophecy of the last days. This is what Yah is saying. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us, and they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. But thou, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. So right now his kingdom's really little. Yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be the ruler in Israel. Now, when we hear Israel, we're not talking about Israel that you think right now, because they rejected the Yasha in the first place. It's the seed of Israel that's true Israel today. The people that had to escape persecution from the Catholic Church, and they're from the 12 tribes, and they got scattered, and many of them came to the United States, and we were able to come here for religious freedom. But now the Catholic Church has come over here to take away religious freedom and bring in witchcraft. So here in the United States is where his people are, and they don't realize their heritage. But it says, therefore will he give them up until the time that she which travaileth hath brought forth. So we know that the church is about to travail and have a birthing of a kingdom. And it says, then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. This is talking about everybody figuring out they're now Israel. And this man shall be the peace when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces. Then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. And they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod. And the remnant of Jacob. So Jacob's name, if you look it up in Russian, it's Yasha. And that's his people's name is Yasharan, and his name is Yasha. So the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from the Yah, as showers upon the grass. So they're going to be, there's going to be a people that, you know, when in the morning you just want that dew on the grass to water the grass. Well, people in the Bible are like grass. So there's going to be a people that comes to tell you truth, that explains what the truth is, because you've been lied to for so long what religion is. And so they're going to come as the dew and as showers upon the grass. They're going to give you the law of Moses to tell you what is truth, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sun. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest. So this is what we're talking about. There's going to be a time when things are going to turn the other way. Verse 10, and it shall come to pass in that day. So anytime we talk about it coming to pass in that day, it's talking about the latter day. Okay? Saith the Yah, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. So all these people who have the reign of power in all the cities, he's going to destroy their chariots, their horses, their power. And I will cut off the cities of thy land and throw down all thy strongholds. All the strongholds that are had by Moloch and the Catholic Church and the Greeks with their pervertedness and taking innocent children and using them for their perversions. He says he's going to cut them off, because what does he say? I'll throw down all thy strongholds, and I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Who are the soothsayers? The press that's lying to you, giving you enchantments and giving you all this words to keep you in a spell that you don't know what to do and you become hopeless. He's going to cut it all off. It says so right here in the scriptures, and scriptures is a more sure word. Thy graven images also will I cut off. So all these images, these statues, the monument in Washington that's in London and at the Vatican, all those will be cut off, because it says, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee. Seventh-day Adventist Church, you have images in the front of your building, and that's what's going to be cut down. And thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. So like saying, I have this job and I have that job and I'm better than you because I have this job. You're not even going to talk about that. And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee. All these groves, like the Bohemian Grove in California, it's going to be plucked up, because they don't want, Yah doesn't want any more Moloch or any signs of pedophilia or any signs of satanic rituals. And I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they've not heard. All this is about to come to end. Witchcraft, incantations, spells being put on you, children being used. All of this is about to be turned over, and the flesh of the Roman Catholic Church is going to be brought so that you can see your nakedness. And there's going to be a kingdom set up such as never was before. This earth is going back to its original plan. It's the restitution of all things, and it's about to happen. Don't lose hope. Go to our website, give us a call, write to us on 12hourkingdom.com, or write me below, and I would love to help you to understand what this prophecy means. Remember, though Satan may be going around to devour you like a roaring lion, Yah's coming back to take you and to take his kingdom back. And that kingdom's name is the original name of Israel, Yasharan. Thank you for listening.